Supervisor Chanlis. Public comment for agenda items only. Seeing no one in the audience. Yep, we had. I'm sorry. So do you want me to start again?
But just, you don't have to start all the way over. I think if you start with approving of the agenda.
Okay. Can I get a motion to can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Approved by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Chanlis. Public comment for agenda items only. There's no one. I just note that there is no one in the audience. We did receive one. Okay, then we did not. Nothing in the box or anything like that. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the agendas? The minutes from November 28th, 2022 meeting.
So before.
Oh, sorry.
We didn't vote on the agenda items.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I believe, was there something that we needed?
We do need to add. Yes, we do. Thank you.
Okay.
If we could add to the agenda, so we had a gentleman who came in and paid for a zoning hearing application. We ended up not needing to go to the zoning hearing board.
Okay.
When he paid for his permit, he paid the full amount, so he actually paid too much money and we owe him $800 back.
So
we
should that
would
be
like-
under new business?
So,
Or
I think it would,
11.8, you want to
Yeah.
put it in the payments?
we can
Yeah.
put it in under payments 11.8
Refund $800 to,
to Mr. Saldana, Saldana,
due to overpayment?
for a zoning hearing case that didn't go forward.
Or zoning hearing.
Huh? .304 Sunnybrook Lane.
All right, so I'd make a motion to revise the motion, to amend the motion. To add 11.8, refund $800 to Mr. Saldana. Due to his payment for a zoning hearing case that did not occur.
Mr. Russo, are you okay with that?
Yes.
Ms. Chanlis? Then, I guess, all in favor of revising the
So
agenda?
if I can have you do this in
Uh-huh.
2 steps.
Okay,
First of all, take it and create a step 11.8 as step 1. So vote on that and then vote on your whole agenda again.
oh, okay. Can I get a motion to approve the addition of 11.8 for a zoning hearing board overpayment?
I'll make that motion as I read.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
That was that was unanimous. Thank you. And then can I get a motion to revise the agenda, correct?
Yes.
Or approve the agenda
To
as
approve the
revised.
agenda with the addition of 11.8.
Second.
Motion made by Supervisor Chanlis, second by Supervisor Partridge. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you for catching that,
Thank you.
Supervisor Partridge. Now, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from November 28, 2022 meeting?
Second.
Moved by Supervisor Chanlis, seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Reports.
Take a vote.
Board discussion, sorry.
No.
Is there any board discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need a flow chart on all this. Sorry. Thanks for being patient. I appreciate it. It was unanimous to pass the minutes as written. Can I get a motion? I'm sorry. I'm ahead of myself. Section 8.1, a report from the township manager, Mr. Neese.
Yeah, I have two things this evening. One is, you gave approval at your last meeting for us to advertise for the appointment of the auditor. I just want to make sure that everybody's comfortable. We'll be recommending that we continue with Mally, who's been doing it the last 4 years. This would be their 5th year to do this audit. And then we would potentially look for a new auditor for 2024. If everyone's all right with that, without any objection, we'll continue to do that. The second piece that I have for you, if I can figure out what I did with the sheet. Hold on one second. Oh, George wanted me to give you an update of where we are with leaves. We finished both zones 1 and 2. They're working on zone 3 right this week. They're hoping to get zone 3 done before Thursday morning when it starts to rain. So that's their goal. So they're working very quickly to do that. Evidently next week, Thursday and Friday, we may have some colder weather and potentially some white precipitation, which George loves very much. So they're going to be working really hard to get the leaves done on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week for zone 4. As of today, we have, as of this afternoon, we have picked up 354 truckloads of leaves, and that's equal to 8,500 yards and over 2.1 tons. I think that sounds low, but maybe that's right. And then they've also had dropped off 275 bags of leaves here at the township building. So lots and lots of leaves. Just so the board knows, I don't think we need to take action on it. We've been doing this for years. We're putting Mr. Akers, Mark Akers, who was a retiree, back on for a potential plow truck driver. We do that every year. We do that. And then we would like to use our temporary summer help that we had to come back in for 2 weeks while he's home on Christmas break. We try to get us caught up on a couple areas in the public works. We have it in our budget as part of, we didn't use all our summer money. So we have that. So that's what we'd like to do. So just wanted to let you know that's what we were doing. And that is my report.
Thank you, Mr. Neese. I do see number 9, fund transfer. There's no agenda item for that, or is that part of?
There is no agenda item.
Okay. So then we'll go down
Or
to,
budget adjustment.
okay, payments. 11.1, consider approving the $1,329.25 escrow release payment to Matthew Klein at 19 Harrison Drive for a completed grading project. Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion moved by Supervisor Chandler, seconded by Supervisor Russo. Is there board discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
11.2, consider approving the $61.50 escrow release payment to James Zelensky at 316 Earls Lane for completed grading project.
Second.
Moved by Supervisor Chandler, seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Is there any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Then moved unanimous. 11.3, consider approving the $2,665.70 payment to CMC Engineering for the completed engineering study for Bartram Bridge. Can I get a motion? Second?
Second.
Moved by Supervisor Chandler, seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Any board discussion? I actually have a question, Mr. Neese. Is this because it's Bartram Bridge, this is that shared expenses?
Yeah, and this is also part of the grant that we got. So if you recall, we had both Newtown and Willistown set aside $125,000 each.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got a grant for an additional $100,000 to make the total project a $350,000 project. This piece here relates heavily to our match for that grant.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
is moved unanimous. 11.4, consider approving the $4,853.87 payment to Envision Collision. Oh, that's cute. LLC for repairs to Ford F-150, which is hit by a deer. I guess that wasn't professional.
Second.
Motion moved by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimously. 11.5, consider approving payment of 2021 tax credit for volunteer firefighters meeting the requirement for credit in the amount of $11,072.94. $9,864.76 paid this month on approved check run, and $1,208.18 to be paid in supplemental check run next week. Moved by Supervisor Chanlis, seconded by Supervisor Russo. Is there any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. 11.6, consider approving the additional contributions to the uniform and non-uniform pension plans totaling $8,330.15 per account. Moved by, can I get a second?
Second.
Moved by Supervisor Chanlis, seconded by Supervisor Russo. Is there any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's moved unanimously. 11.7, consider approving the 2021 note principal, which refinanced the 2016 bond in the amount of $188,000 paid by ACH.
Second.
Moved by Supervisor Chanlis, seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Is there any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously. 11.8,
You want?
yeah,
I
and
have
could you read?
Yeah,
that,
so
please?
for 11.8, I'd like to make a motion to refund $800 to Mr. Saldana due to a zoning hearing case that he had paid for and scheduled, but the case did not occur. So that's my motion. Yeah.
Motion moved by Partridge, Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Chanlis. Is there any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Moved unanimously. 12.1, bills. Consider approving the bills on check register A dated December 12, 2022, totaling $187,060.67.
So moved.
Moved by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Chanlis. Is there any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously. New business, 13.1, consider approving the conditional employment offer for new police officer hire contingent on passing the background check and passing the physical and psychological exams.
So moved.
Moved by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Chanlis. All in favor, is there any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved unanimously. Consider approving the board commission committee meeting scheduled for 2023.
So moved.
Motion made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Chanlis. Is there any board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously. 13.3, consider approving policy 2022-02, amending the township payment policy 2016-07, invoice payment prior to board approval to include district court payments.
Commissioner needs to explain this a little bit.
Can I get a second first?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Neese?
Okay. So, yes, so one of the things that happens is when we take a complaint and we go to district court, in order for us to file the complaint at district court, we have to pay a fee. And so sometimes that happens like the Tuesday after we meet with you here. And so we are unable to do anything until we go 2 weeks or sometimes 4 weeks, depending on when in the year it happens, until then. Usually that fee is somewhere about $160 to $200. And so this would allow us to have you ratify it at the next meeting, but it would allow us to go ahead and file the complaint with the court and get the process
That's
started.
great. Okay. Thank you.
Oh.
First country, yeah. Advertisement.
There are recycle. I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Can you do that without adjusting?
What? Mike, you did, right?
So if we're
We're
gonna
not-
do that, we have to adjust the agenda first. Or my recommendation, if the board's okay with it, we'll actually do another amendment to this next beginning in the next year.
Okay.
And I'll just have it set.
Can we
for the third.
table this item?
No, I'd like you to go ahead and approve this, but
Okay.
that's on the
So should we
agenda.
put
but
that under, so that'll be added on
It'll,
the next
it'll be on the
agenda?
next agenda. and We'll
Okay.
take care of
Retroactively, I mean.
it. No, we'll put it, we'll have you vote on this one, this change now. And that way, if anything comes up the rest of December, we can take action. But
made the motion?
we'll, because it's authorizing us to spend money, I think it's best for you to have it on the agenda before you take action. And so therefore, I will have it on the agenda on the January 3rd meeting. And then you can take action at that time for the other two that would be added, the Republic and the 21st century.
What do you, I thought you said, we're talking about payments that have to be made, is that?
So what we're talking about, so that everybody make sure I have it very clear. You have a list of payments that you've authorized us to pay prior to your approval. And the list currently is predominantly things like Aqua, the water bill, because it's always, we're going to pay whatever the water bill is typically. Pico, the electricity, and usually like Comcast or Verizon. Those are things that they send out the bill and usually say 20 days payment. And by the time we process it through our cycle, we don't get it mailed out to them because usually that bill always shows up after we've done checks for this particular meeting. And then prior to our next meeting, it's actually due. And so what you put a resolution back in 2016 that allowed us to pay those, and then you approved those.
Right.
And so we wanted to add the district court payment,
Right, I
so
understand
that the other two, because they weren't on the agenda for tonight, and because it actually would mean you're paying them prior to your approval, I think it's safest for you to have it on the agenda at the next meeting.
But so you're not concerned about missing a payment or anything?
Well,
Just
we'll pay it. You're going to pay bills on June 3rd, or January 3rd. We've been doing that all year. They'll just have to wait this one time and we'll figure that out.
is there no way to do it broadly to say utilities so that we don't have to come back with specific names every time, or?
I think that well, it's not specific names every time, but we've always been, so for example, I'm a little concerned about 21st Century because 21st Century is actually advertising. Typically, you've already approved advertising before we've ever done the advertising, but you don't necessarily know the dollar amount. But it's another one, kind of like the utility. You've already approved it, the action's already happened, and we're going to pay it. The second piece is the Republic. That's by contract, so it's a flat amount. Are they billing us late fees? Is that what the issue is on both of them? Okay, so it's, I'll fight 21st Century the first time because we pay them a ton of money. And we are always pretty timely on our payments, so we shouldn't be getting late fees. So, but we'll add it to the next meeting. I just think that it's safest for you
Yeah,
to
no,
have it publicly put on the agenda and not a issue.
Motion was made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. 13.4, consider approving the 2023 budget.
So I think, so we're gonna have some.
I think do we have to have a motion first?
Well, I guess maybe just if some discussion.
Okay.
Before we
Fine.
make the
All right.
motion,
Yeah, thanks.
to come up with couple numbers. So here's my, okay, so where we left off, last meeting, we advertised a millage increase from 1.7314 mils to 1.8110 mils, which is 4.6% increase in millage, to raise $286,629 to balance the budget, because that's the difference between the revenue and expense. So my proposal would be, we do have adequate funds in the fund balance. So my proposal would be to balance this $286,629 using some of the fund balance and also a tax increase, but not as significant as we've already advertised. So my proposal would be to set the tax increase at 2%, which would raise $124,900 to fund this $286,629 shortage and take $161,729 from the fund balance. Now, I mean, I guess, my logic there is that we do, number one, we have adequate funding in the fund balance to do this. Number two is, everyone's been hit pretty hard with inflation this year. And so I think that, since we do have the adequate funding, we should, understanding that, we raise some of it with a tax increase, but we should keep that relatively low because people have already been hit hard, with inflation. And I think it's the right thing to do, to use some of the savings, the fund balance, and then you use some with a relatively minor tax increase of 2%. So that would be my proposal to close that gap of $286,629. Anybody has any thoughts whether that's reasonable or some other ideas?
I'll second that.
I don't know that he made a motion. I think it was just a.
Oh,
document.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Mr. Neese, I'm sorry. Our real estate taxes this year went up about 108. Is that from the new, are those the new pieces that have come online? The new pieces, the new properties that have come online?
That's correct. That would be new properties, or if somebody did a renovation on their home, those are the adjustments that we got. So this year we've had an interesting year. We've had some positives, but we also had a lot of people appealing their taxes, and so we had a lot of negatives. And so the difference was that 108.
And the appeals, are they still ongoing, or have they or have we plateaued? Are they still?
We've been still getting adjustments. I mean, like I don't know how many are in the system that haven't been processed.
Uh-huh.
I would have to contact the county to find that out. But I know of some that people have said they're still waiting. I don't
Okay.
know how many of that is. And not every one of them ends up going less.
Right.
Some of
Yeah.
them, they actually are sorry they went and appealed,
Yeah.
because it actually goes up. But but a lot of them have gone down and have gone down significantly.
And we had, there were some issues with the commercial properties and their assessments. Is that something that has been, I don't know, straightened out, but was that something that had happened, you know, that they were at the very beginning? I think that there was a problem, wasn't
Yeah,
there?
and so some of them have been appealing, and that's actually part of the offset that we've experienced over this last year. Because we've had some good ads.
Mhm.
We've had some reductions as well.
Okay, all right, thank you.
But to tell you what we can
Right.
expect in 2023, I'm not 100% sure.
Okay,
But, you know, Tina, that's a good point that you bring up though, because I mean, my observation is, I mean, with Ellis Preserve, very active right now. Things are moving forward quickly, so there are a lot more, homes coming online and permit fees and so forth. So with all that activity, you know, we definitely, you know, should reap some positive cash flow from that development. And that's going to add to going to obviously be some benefit, you know, in the coming year or two. So so that's another reason to kind of balance things out between the tax increase and use of fund balance.
Well, and I understand and I agree with the majority of what you said. I mean, I know that the economy is difficult for everyone with inflation and I understand we do have a good fund balance. I am generally pretty loath to raise taxes as, or, you know, after 12 years on the school board, but my only hesitation, I agree with you that I think that we need to have some kind of a balance this year in order to, you know, use a little bit of fund balance and give the taxpayers a break, but also make sure we can pay for the services that they need. My only hesitation in going quite as low as 2, and you know, is we're dealing with an economy where we're trying to hire and fill positions where it's hard to find people. There are a lot of unknowns, and you have to always be cautious when you use fund balance if you're not using it for one-time expenses, that it could end up hurting you in the future. So I agree with you. I think that there needs to be a balance where I would not be in favor of you know, the full increase that's advertised, but I feel like, you know, maybe what I can see from what I understand is a 2.5% tax increase on average is only $20, that $20 a month additional in practice.
Yeah.
I know that's an average and I know that's still an increase, but you know, I just want to be cautious, and nobody has a crystal ball, so we don't know exactly what the right answer is, but I'm trying to strike a balance in between.
With Kathy's you know, ideas here, you know, which are slightly different than mine, I have a question for Rich. Rich, as the board you know, weighs in and tries to decide if everybody's along the lines of some kind of a balance between fund balance and tax increase to close this $286,629. We have a resolution which is going to have the new millage numbers in it, so forth. But in order to get to the decision of what numbers go into that resolution, would it be appropriate for the board to debate this and actually make a motion and approve a specific tax increase and fund balance that goes into this first, and then it seems to me that we need to vote and we need to take an official vote and come to a consensus on what kind of a balance is going to go into the bigger motion. Would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you're going to come to some sort of an agreement as to what your tax amount is going to be and what the amount is going to come from fund balance, you're gonna have to agree to that. You're gonna have to vote on that.
Yeah, and I know Tina and Mike have to weigh in, and Kathy and I gave two different opinions. I mean, either one of us can make a motion. so.
They're pretty similar opinions,
They're,
just slightly.
yeah, they're similar. I mean, I don't want to, take the stage here and make a motion before. Do you want me to make a motion, or do you rather weigh in first, or? what
No,
do
I
you- what do you
think,
guys
well, I agree with the two of you that to use some fund balance and some, and a tax increase, it's, just, I think the percentage is different from what Kathy and Ed, and I think the 2% is fine to go ahead and so if, I don't know about Mike, I mean, I guess we're talking about this, but I think we are on the same page.
Same
right?
wavelength,
That we
yeah.
need to, that at least the three of us are, what I'm hearing, so I don't know if we're ready to make a motion, would you
I'm fine
ready
with
to
that.
vote?
Yeah, so if that's the case, hearing what you said, then I'll make a motion that we balance the deficit of $286,629 with a 2% tax increase, which would raise $124,900, and to use $161,729 as fund balance to cover the difference of the deficit. That would be my motion. So
Can I get a second? Motion made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Russo. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I mean, look, the only thing I'll say is I don't have a crystal ball. None of us has a crystal ball. So, to argue over, we're talking about $30,000.
yeah,
I'm certainly not gonna vote no for $30,000. I just want to make sure that we're thinking about, being cautious and understanding that it may be more difficult next year to balance the budget if we, the more fund balance we need. So, that's my concern, but we're not talking about a huge difference. So.
So it sounds as though we've,
take the vote.
any further discussion?
Good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous, but I'm not sure what we just voted on because we have three different agendas, three different
Right,
items. So
so,
we approved the budget.
right, so we approved,
As I understand it, you approved the budget with the 2% tax increase.
Yes.
The remaining balance is to be taken out of fund balance with the other fund balance usage that was already in the budget. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the fund balance will increase to 349,000, use of fund balance will increase to 349,249. And then the real estate tax collection will increase to 6,418,735.
okay, then would it be appropriate now? This is a question for, I guess, for Rich or Steve. Would it be appropriate now that we kind of have a consensus of what we're going to do with this budget to move directly to 15.1 at this point and look at resolution 2022-35, which sets the millage rate?
I think you could do it now, or you could act on the next one and then move forward and do it.
Okay.
It doesn't, I don't think there's
No,
any
it doesn't.
issue.
Either way.
I can get your numbers pretty quickly, so.
Yeah. Okay, next item 13.5, consider approving the committed and assigned fund balance as stated in the attached memo from the township manager. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion, so moved.
Second,
Okay.
motion made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Russo. Is there any board discussion?
I would just make note that we do this every year. And so, Kathy, this is probably the first time that you've gone through this with us. So in order for us to have dollars set aside in the audit for specific purposes, we have to act on those before December 31st. And that's this act. This is this action. Pretty much every one of those or everything that we've been setting aside for the last couple years with the purpose of knowing that we have these issues that are outstanding and we're just protecting those dollars from the capital fund so that we're ready to take action when we're ready to be able to move forward.
Thank you for that explanation, because I always need that reminder of what that is, so I appreciate that.
Okay.
All those in favor? Aye, unanimous. Thank you. There is no old business. Resolutions of legislation in action. 15.1, consider approving resolution 2022-35, setting the township millage rate.
Okay, resolution 2022-35, a resolution of the Township of Newtown in the County of Delaware, Commonwealth, of Pennsylvania, fixing the tax rate for the year 2023. Be it resolved and enacted, and it is hereby levied on all real estate property within the Township of Newtown. The tax rate for general purposes of 1.7661 mils on each dollar assessed evaluation, or the sum of 176.61 on each 100,000 of assessed value. The assessment for fire hydrants is 0.0325 mils on each dollar assessed valuation, or the sum of $3.25 on each 100,000 of assessed valuation, whether or not the property is exempt from taxation. The assessment for streetlights is 0.0352 mils on each dollar assessed valuation, or the sum of $3.52 on each 100,000 of assessed valuation if located in a streetlight district, whether or not the property is exempt from taxation. Adopted this 12th day of December 2022, and that's my motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion made by Supervisor Partridge, seconded by Supervisor Russo. Is there any board discussion?
Yeah, one second, just let Mr. Neese take a look at that, what's on the table. You all right?
Yeah, we're good.
Good.
I just wanted, we thought you said street lights for both of those two.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, hydro. Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
one. That's a huge one.
All right. Okay.
We're good?
We're good.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Resolution 2022-36, application for a PA small water and sewer program.
Be it resolved, the Newtown Township of Delaware County hereby requests a PA small water and sewer program grant up to $255,000 from the Commonwealth Financing Authority to be used for stormwater improvements. Be it further resolved that the applicant does hereby designate Stephen M. Neese, Township Manager, and/or Leonard B. Altieri III, Chair, Board of Supervisors, as officials to execute all documents and agreements between Newtown Township and the Commonwealth Financing Authority to facilitate and assist in obtaining a requested grant. I, Stephen. Oh, I don't have to read that, right? No. That's my motion.
Second.
Motion made by Supervisor Russo, seconded by Supervisor Partridge. Is there any board comment or discussion?
If you
Oh,
don't
sorry.
mind, I think it's important.
Explanation of what it is.
That you
Thank
know what we're doing. And so if you recall, we've been talking about Sawmill and some of the challenges that are there. But one of the main challenges that's in that area is the stormwater that you have when you come to the end of Sawmill and 252. It's oftentimes that there's water standing in the road. So this grant came available, and Eric and I talked about it, I don't know, probably a month and a half ago or a month ago. And so Eric and his team have been working on the grant, getting it ready so that we can submit it. I believe it's a 15% match or from our side, but this is a project that we've really been wanting to do for probably at least 6 years that I can tell you. And so this is a really huge opportunity to do that and really get something done that will work to help. And it also helps us make plans for how to use that property there at the corner of 252 and Sawmill, as well as the one next to it, the one at Aspen.
So it's twofold.
Yes,
Right? It helps with the stormwater management, and then it also helps to move that
Project forward.
part, that property forward. It's great.
So
Thank you.
between that and the other grant that we did last time, hopefully we get both of them and we'll be able to take and put in sidewalks as well as storm drains and make a good improvement in that area.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. Is there any board comment? Seeing none, public comment, there's no one in the audience, so unless there's somebody else in the public, are there any items for next agenda?
I just would want to make sure the board's very aware that we'll be meeting what will be the first Tuesday in January. Monday's a holiday. So it's actually meeting January 3rd for the reorg meeting,
7.
7:00. Yes,
January 3rd, what day is that?
that's a Tuesday.
Okay. Get all messed up with all that.
It's usually the first Monday,
I know.
but because the first Monday happens to be the celebrated holiday for the new year, it's January 3rd.
I just wanted to be clear.
Yeah, January 3rd,
Okay.
Tuesday.
Happy
Yeah.
holidays, everyone, right?
Yep, I just wish everyone a happy holiday, happy, healthy new year, and we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right.
Are you?